peoples, my peoples. Welcome to Box Center. I'm JSmiff, and this is your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. So check it, man. We're 2 weeks away from Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda. This is gonna be, I believe, a great fight for Shakur Stevenson to show out. That's what I expect him to do. And Zepeda's gonna cooperate, because I know that William Zepeda is going to try to apply that pressure on Shakur Stevenson. You're gonna see him, going forward, feeling confident, like Shakur isn't gonna do much, or thinking that he can be over aggressive. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised about Shakur's performance. I'm not. I expect it. Why? Because you can see how everyone focuses on De Los Santos, as if every fight Shakur has had has played out in that manner. Oh, De Los Santos. Like, every time Shakur comes up, his haters or detractors, if you will, want to bring up the De Los Santos fight. They forgot the type of beating that Shakur Stevenson put on Oscar Valdez. They forgot the pounding, the pummeling session that he delivered to Jamel Herring, who was also a reigning world champion at the time. So I think right now, Shakur Stevenson, he kind of got a chip on his shoulder, with all the talk about him, not being as good as he says he is, and people just not wanting to accept him as one of the best. Because that's the reality, my people. Like, there's no getting around it. If you watch Shakur Stevenson fight, he's one of the... If you don't think he is the best, then you got to think that he's one of them. He's amongst the best. But, people want to hate. And I always say it. The type of hate that Shakur Stevenson gets reminds me of Floyd Mayweather. It reminds me of Floyd. That's why I feel like Shakur is following in Floyd's footsteps. Because if you look at it, he's 27 years old, young gun. He just turned 28. And at 28 years old, he's already a multi-division champion, a unified champion. Young undefeated fighter who gets a lot of hate. Everything that is being said about Shakur Stevenson reminds me of what was said when they talked about Floyd. It seems like I'm hearing, it's like deja vu. Everything that went down with Shakur, with people saying that he's boring, that he runs too much, that they don't like to watch his fights, they falling asleep. All that stuff, I heard it about Floyd Mayweather. All of it. And you see people, it's like they have amnesia. Now, Floyd Mayweather is recognized as the GOAT, the face of boxing when he was active. And they forget about that. They forget about all the hate that he received because of his style, and how people said that he was way too defensive, and he don't have power. He not knocking people out like that. Come on, man. Everything that we're hearing about Shakur, that's why I love the internet, man. The internet keeps receipts. You can find endless memes of Floyd's face put in the body of a runner on a track. And people making memes with Floyd on a bicycle. Floyd's face with Forrest Gump's body. Y'all never saw that meme? So there was always a narrative out there that Floyd Mayweather was boring, that people didn't like his fights. And look how his career played out. He retired as the most famous, most rich, and arguably the greatest fighter of all time. So all those things that people were saying about Floyd, it didn't play out the way that they thought, because people were saying, look, Floyd Mayweather, he's too boring. I'm not gonna watch him. You know, he's way too boring. But at the same time that they were saying he's too boring, they were watching him. They were watching him. So it's the same thing with Shakur Stevenson now. The same people that say that he's too boring, they watch every single one of his fights. I see Shakur Stevenson's career playing out just like Floyd's, and he's only 28 years old. I'm going to make an interesting talking point for you guys about Shakur Stevenson's age, so y'all can see the similarities. JJ Sendejas, good morning, JSmiff. I'm here. Let's go. Good morning, my guy. Appreciate you dropping in. I want you guys to take this into consideration. Floyd Mayweather became the face of boxing when he beat Oscar De La Hoya. You guys may recall when he went into that fight with Oscar De La Hoya, he was still Pretty Boy Floyd. In fact, that's when he was buying himself his contract out of Top Rank. And he was still Pretty Boy Floyd. After beating Oscar De La Hoya, he became Money Made. And that's when he became the face of boxing. In case you don't know, my peoples, Floyd Mayweather beat Oscar De La Hoya when he was 30 years old. 30 years old. Why is that important to note? Because when people think about Floyd Mayweather, if you're not in your 40s, right? Because us that we're in the 40s, we lived it. We were there in that era. But if you're younger and you don't remember, you start to think, or you don't know, you think that Floyd Mayweather was the face of boxing for his whole career. Nah, bro. He wasn't. He became the face of boxing at 30 years old after beating Oscar De La Hoya. So I bring that up because Floyd was 30, and right now Shakur Stevenson is 28. Shakur Stevenson is 2 whole years younger than Floyd was when he became the face of boxing. Now let's look at Shakur's career. Multi-division champion, unified champion, reigning undefeated champion. Is playing out. The best defense in boxing is from Shakur Stevenson. Just like it was the best defense from Floyd Mayweather. People said Floyd was boring. They now say Shakur is boring. People said Floyd runs too much. They said that about Shakur as well. Michael Walker. What's up, JSmiff? What's the deal, Michael Walker? Bam. Appreciate you dropping in, my G. JJ's in their house. Lots of people were watching Mayweather because they wanted to see him lose. It's the same thing right now, my brother. Lots of people watching Shakur because they want to see him lose badly. They want to see him lose, but the problem is that nobody could beat him. That makes them hate him even more. They hate him even more because it's not like they could say, well, this guy could beat him, this guy could beat him. Tank Davis is the hardest puncher and considered by a lot of people the best in the division, yet we know he's been ducking Shakur. So when your favorite fighter is ducking Shakur, that's going to make you hate him even more. And I find that interesting how Tank Davis fans, they say, oh, Tank will knock Shakur out. Tank will beat him up. Tank will do all this. Yet, Tank don't want to fight Shakur. I don't know, but it looks like y'all believe in Tank more than Tank believe in Tank. Because if Tank don't want to make the fight, if his team don't want to make the fight, oh my goodness, god dang, that was fat. If Tank don't want to make the fight, his team don't want to do it, obviously they don't believe you. Tank and his team don't believe you, bro. And I'm just being honest when I say that, because if they did, Tank would have already fought Shakur and knocked him out. As a matter of fact, when Tank Davis and Vasyl Lomachenko were in talks, and Lomachenko pulled out of their fight because he wanted to take some time off. And look, he said he wanted to take some time off, and he ended up retiring. So good for Lomachenko. But at that time, when he pulled out, Shakur didn't have an opponent lined up. Tank Davis didn't have an opponent lined up. They could have fought each other. Instead of Tank Davis fighting Lamar Roach, he could have fought Shakur Stevenson. They even went as far as saying that they were going to send Shakur a contract. And then what happened? Nothing. No contract, no talks, no try to negotiate, nothing. So it's like we all see that Tank Davis doesn't want to fight Shakur. We all see that he's ducking Shakur. But some people don't want to admit it. Some people don't want to acknowledge it. They know. We all know Shakur is dying to fight Tank and bait his ass. But Tank is not having it. He knows that Shakur will put that work on. He ain't having it. Holy shit, my people. High ass speed bump. By the way, yo, y'all need to stop ducking that like button, my people. God damn, it's 11 of us and I got one like? One like? That's criminal. That's criminal activity, y'all. Golly. Y'all be ducking that like button the same way Tank Davis is ducking Shakur. Y'all know. Y'all know. Tank, he need to stop ducking Shakur. Y'all need to stop ducking this like button. JJ Sender has Tank a duck. I mean, it's hard to describe it any other way, my brother. At this point, it's hard to describe it any other way. Because what can we... You know, Tank is already 30 years old, man. I keep telling people that at 30 years old, you don't got no more excuses. You done spent your whole 20s with your fan base saying that you being developed. Oh, he being developed. He being developed. God damn, how you a multiple division champion and you still being developed? At what point are you gonna finally be developed? Okay, now Tank 30 years old. What's going on? Call of John. Ernest Morales. Am I late for breakfast? Well, boxing for breakfast ended earlier, but I'm back on with y'all. Spend some time with you guys talking about some of these upcoming fights. I feel like Shakur Stevenson is gonna show out, is gonna put up a great performance. My people, I'm gonna stand up right quick. I gotta go in the store. I'm gonna come right back. Don't leave. Put it in the comments, my people, for everybody who joined while I go inside the store to not leave, because I'm coming back. We got to talk about this whole Shakur Stevenson. People talking about he boring and he runs a lot. We got to talk. Stay with me, my people. So I'm going to come right back. Let me handle this right quick. My peoples. My peoples. Shout out to everybody who waited for me. You know. Shout out to everybody who waited. You could have just dropped off, but you love boxing just like me. Michael Walker, my man JSmiff is a real life Tank hater. Come on, man. Come on, man. How you gonna say I'm a real life Tank hater? What have I said about Tank that is hate? The thing is that Michael Walker, Tankomaniacs cannot handle the truth about Tank. He done went damn near his whole career ducking the best fights, and now he 30 years old and still ain't have none of the best fights. Y'all condone the cherry picking. Y'all see that Lamont Roach is a cherry pick gone wrong. Come on, man. That's it. At 30 years old, it's time already for Tank to fight the big dogs. That's the reality. That's it. And look, by the way, Tank Davis is, what it's been said is that he's gonna probably or possibly fight the rematch with Lamont Roach and then fight Jake Paul before retiring. So Michael Walker, what are you and the Tankomaniacs gonna say if Tank Davis fight Jake Paul at the end of the year and retires without fighting any of the best fighters from his era? Without fighting Shakur, without fighting Devin, without fighting Teofimo, without moving up and challenging big name fighters at bigger divisions, just cling on to the 135 division for their life to fight smaller fighters and never fight any of the best. What you guys gonna say if he does that? JJ's in the house. Hello everyone. Hit the like button. Let's go. I'm saying though, JJ's in the house, man. My peoples be showing me a lot of love with coming through, but they be ducking that like button like crazy, bro. It's like the same way they see Tank Davis and they see how he ducking Shakur, they like, yeah, I'm gonna duck that like button. Golly. Y'all gotta stop ducking. Oh shit. Yo, look, it's early in the morning. This shit is lit up over here. Oh shit. Golly. There's a spot right here where they lit up, my people. They drinking, partying, looking like they've been there all night long. That's damn. They gangsta over there. But again, my peoples, Shakur Stevenson is what I was saying earlier. He reminds me of Floyd Mayweather. The way that his career is playing out. The way that his career is playing out, he reminds me of Floyd because he get the same type of hate that you see from Floyd Mayweather. The same. You know, you see how people say, you know, the stuff about him being boring and that he runs too much and all that stuff. That's what you saw with Floyd Mayweather. And not for whatever reason, people conveniently forget things. They forget all the hate that Floyd Mayweather used to get because of his defensive style. So today, in 2025, they'll tell you, oh yeah, Floyd had the best defense of all time. Floyd is the best defensive fighter of all time, which I believe is true. I got Floyd Mayweather as the best defense ever. But in his era, while he was fighting, people took that as boring. People took that as running. People took that as you putting me to sleep. And yet, look how Floyd retired. Considered the greatest of all time. Look at that. Ernest Morales. Michael Walker, amigo. What's making more sense? Shaq ducking Tank or Tank ducking Shaq? And that's a very simple question to ask. Who's really ducking who? It should be easy to see. Flip. What are the Shakur maniacs going to say about him when he retires? Well, Flip, you have to understand, there's no such thing as Shakur maniacs. There's no such thing. Why there's no such thing? Because there's nobody running around justifying cherry picking. The Shakur fans want to see him fight Tank. They want to see him fight the top dogs. So the Shakur fans are just regular boxing fans who want to see the best fight the best. It's the Tankomaniacs who are cool with Tank cherry picking his whole career. That's what make y'all Tankomaniacs. That's what make y'all Tankomaniacs right there. Y'all want to see a guy. The most important thing to y'all is to see Tank knocking people out. It doesn't matter, you know, if he brought him from the 130 division. It doesn't matter if they never fought for a title. It doesn't matter if they never been a champion. I'm pretty sure y'all gonna find a way to say, yeah, he fighting Jake Paul. That's a great fight. You gonna support that too, Flip? You will be like, yeah, Jake Paul, that was my favorite Tank Davis fight. He did it right there. Saludos. So all you have to do, my peoples, is watch the criticism that Shakur got. Watch the criticism that Shakur is getting now and compare it to the criticism that Floyd Mayweather got. And you're gonna see. You're gonna come to the conclusion that they're getting the same treatment. You're gonna see it. Don't take my word for it. My peoples, I'm about to end this one right now. Want to give a shout out to everybody who tuned in. Hold on, let me get my change. I'm at the store over here right now. Muchas gracias. Check out Dominican money, my people. That's Dominican money. So that's what you got to take into consideration. You know, that's how you got to consider it. Hold on. So my peoples, I'm about to get the hell out of here. Shout out to everybody who tuned in. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you later.